Hey guys, Joe here with another PBR battle for you all. This sadly is the type of opponent that I keep running into now. I never should have last battle said, I'm so glad I keep bumping into, like, creative Japanese players because, they're so much fun to play. Because ever since then, I've just been bumping into loads of people with, like, in-game teams. It's really, really irritating. This is, like, one of the worst ones I've come across just because, it's filled with Ubers, and Ubers are just such a pain to take down. Well, they can be, it depends really. I just decided to kick things off with Shiftry and Sableye. I just really wanted to get through this battle as fast as possible, so I decided to go with Explosion. Obviously, it wouldn't do anything to Sableye. I just did a Sucker Punch for good measure to make sure that they both did get KO'd. And they both easily go down this turn, which was great. So it was just a quick, trade-off of sorts. Two of their Pokemon for one of mine, which put me in good stead for the rest of the battle, and I was very happy about that. But as we will see in a minute, things aren't quite as easy as I'd anticipated in the first place. I sent out my Armaldo. Just because Armaldo is good, and they send out that Giratina. Note, basically, whenever I fight someone who has a Giratina in their team of 6, they will use that Giratina against me. It's so annoying. It's always like it's pretty much always in doubles as well, but it's still such a pain taking down Giratinas. And Dialgas aren't much better, to be honest. I'd, spamming Roar of Time and everything. I'd much rather fight Palkias than I would Dialgas, because I almost never have any Steel types with me, so Roar of Time just destroys a lot of my Pokemon, and it did there to my Armaldo. I probably should have used Protect this turn, but I was hoping that Armaldo, my one EV trained in Speed and Jolly, would actually outspeed, an EV trained Dialga, but that sadly was not the case. Their Giratina uses Earth Power, lowers my Sableye special defense, which is irritating because otherwise I think it might be able to survive a Roar of Time from Dialga, but you never really know considering that move is just so powerful, even off something that's not EV trained at all. So I send out my last Pokemon, which is Lanturn. I knew I need to start doing some damage to that Dialga because there's absolutely nothing Sableye could do to damage Dialga, and thankfully his Giratina helps me out by actually using Earthquake on everyone. Although it does a huge chunk to my Lanturn, it actually does a significant chunk to the Dialga as well. Actually more than about the same amount of damage my Ice Beam did, which is always very, very useful. I Toxic Giratina because I knew that if it ended up just Lanturn left, I'd be able to, just stall out Giratina with the poison. But I wasn't sure how this was going to go, Dialga was going to Roar of Time next, which is why I protected with Lanturn. I wasn't sure with the amount of health it had whether it would survive a Roar of Time, and so basically, I decided to Sucker Punch just to do some more damage to Giratina. I protect with Lanturn, like I said. Sucker Punch comes off, does a good chunk to Giratina, which is always good. Dialga uses Roar on Time, but on the wrong Pokemon. So now I'm down to just one Pokemon, which was rather infuriating, because obviously this Giratina has Earth Power and Earthquake as well. But thankfully again uses Earthquake this turn and does another huge chunk to his Dialga. I love people that don't really know what they're doing, because that was so useful. I would not have won had it not used Earthquake. But this turn I was actually in pretty great stead. Their Dialga was recharging. For some reason that Giratina used Fly. An Earthquake might have actually come very close to KOing Lanturn, but I guess they learned their lesson to not actually end up killing their Dialga themselves. But yeah, I have no, honest to God, no clue why they would use Fly, but then again, that's the, on Lanturn, they probably just don't know it's typing, but it's just like, yeah, beginner players really don't know what they're doing at all. I probably could have just not used Protect this turn. It probably would have been quite funny just to see how Fly still wouldn't have KO'd Lanturn, but I decided to Protect anyway. Figured it'd be funnier just for Fly to, you know, fail horrendously, and then for Giratina to just die from the poison. So yeah, I'm sure as hell hoping I actually come across some interesting opponents again. That sure would be nice. But this Uber guy, you know, beat him down, not convincingly or anything, but you know, as a win's a win. So I guess I'll catch you guys